Hello everyone. Welcome back to Improved Version, a channel dedicated to sharing profound knowledge on holistic personal development through the lens of the world's greatest books. It is truly a pleasure to have you here as we embark on a journey that transcends the boundaries of age and time. There's a certain novel, originally written for children, that possesses a mysterious and enduring power to captivate the hearts of adults. At the time this book was widely published and began to sweep across the literary world, the then President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, was so moved by its prose that he wrote a personal letter to the author. In that letter, he confessed that he had read the story 3 times in a row, finding something new and nourishing in each sitting. You might wonder, why does a book about small animals living by a riverbank have such a strange, almost magnetic appeal to grown men and women who deal with the complexities of the real world? Today, I would like to share that very book with you. It is The Wind in the Willows, a timeless masterpiece by Kenneth Grahame. Stepping into the beautifully written space of this novel is like finding a hidden sanctuary, a haven of peace where you can escape the noise of modern life. Here you will find stories that seem simple on the surface, yet leave adults with profound reflections on the nature of friendship, the weight of life, the process of growing up, and especially the fundamental question, what truly makes a good friend? In this narrative, the author introduces us to 4 vivid characters, each representing a distinct facet of the human personality. There's Monty the mole, shy and unassuming, yet possessed by a sudden, overwhelming thirst for exploration and light. Then there's Riley the water rat, enthusiastic, rational, and deeply connected to the rhythm of the river. We meet Ben the badger, the wise, generous, and sometimes gruff elder who values solitude but is always there when it counts. And finally, there's TJ the toad, impulsive, reckless, and perpetually chasing the next big thrill. Together, these 4 watch the flowers bloom and wither, standing side by side as they overcome the challenges of fate. Through their adventures, they ultimately reap the rewards of true transformation and growth. Some readers have remarked that the friendship depicted in this novel is like a gentle breeze blowing through willow trees in early summer. Just thinking about it feels like a form of healing. We need this healing because the adult world is often filled with strange, quiet sorrows. We grow up filled with immense expectations, only to find ourselves gradually saddened by moments of deep regret. The friends who once promised to always be there for each other often disappear into the crowd of responsibilities. People who used to talk to us every single day gradually lose contact. Those friends from school who once knew our every secret meet us years later only for us to realize that a strange feeling of emptiness has filled the space between us. We realize we no longer have anything in common, and we gradually accept the cold reality that the older we get, the fewer friends we have. The great writer Lu Xun once said that having one true friend in life is enough. But amidst the hustle and bustle of our careers and digital lives, many of us still secretly carry a heavy burden of anxiety. Is it because time is inevitably sweeping away our friendships? Or is it because we are simply not good enough to hold onto anyone? What kind of friend is truly worthy of our respect? And more importantly, how can we become a truly good friend ourselves? If you have ever pondered these questions, then please settle in and listen to this sharing from Improved Version titled, What Makes a True Friend? As we explore the gentle and profound wisdom of the wind through the willow trees. One of the first lessons the book teaches us is that distance creates true friendship. As spring arrived and the weather began to warm, Monty the mole suddenly felt an urge to leave his familiar, dark home and follow the call of his heart. He was ready to venture into the vast wilderness, a place he had never dared to go before. Eventually, he found himself stranded on a riverbank, where he was luckily rescued by Riley the water rat. The two became instant friends. Monty, having grown up in dark burrows, was incredibly excited about this new life with Riley. But at the same time, he worried. He looked at Riley's life and wondered, is a life like this, spent mostly alone on the water, not lonely? In reality, although Riley spent much of his time in solitude, he was not lacking in affection at all. Riley had a deep, long-standing friendship with TJ the Toad. TJ was famous for his enormous estate and his need to be the center of attention. Yet Riley didn't feel the need to visit TJ's house every day. He was content to read about his friend's antics in the newspapers. Riley also had a friendship with Ben the Badger, who lived on the other side of the river. Ben didn't like being disturbed, so Riley quietly observed from afar and never showed up unexpectedly at Ben's door. Monty gradually realized that despite their limited daily interaction, the friendship between Riley and his companions never faded. It remained strong because it was built on a foundation of mutual respect for boundaries. One day, TJ the Toad saw a large, shiny new car during a trip. Being adventurous and impulsive by nature, TJ immediately wanted to own it, even though he had already been in 7 major accidents. Upon hearing the news, his friends didn't gossip or mock him. They became genuinely worried and paid closer attention to his well-being. When summer began and TJ actually bought the dangerous new vehicle, his friends knew they couldn't just sit still. Even Ben the Badger, who never wanted to leave his comfortable home, proactively set aside his personal affairs. He joined Monty and Riley, and together they went to TJ's castle to advise him and help him avoid the trouble they knew was coming. This simple story illustrates a core principle. Friendships between people need to be regulated by distance. That is often the best way to show love and maintain a connection. A friendship doesn't need to be suffocatingly close or distantly cold. It needs a suitable boundary. The writer Sun Mao once said that the best kind of friend is like fine tea, mild but not bitter, fragrant but not overpowering, with an aroma that flows gently like a stream. This is the philosophy of moderation. Everything is most beautiful when it is just right, and friendship is no exception. Like the characters in our story, we shouldn't try to force everyone to swim in the same river. Each person has their own stream. We must stay far enough away that each person's life path can flow freely, yet stay close enough that when a torrent comes, we can reach out a warm arm in time. Many of us have been taught that best friends must see each other constantly. But as we age, life pulls us in different directions. Distance becomes unavoidable. If we judge the quality of a friendship based solely on how often we meet, we develop heavy expectations. We hope our friends will always reciprocate our feelings with concrete actions. But once those expectations aren't met, disappointment arises, and our original sincerity is distorted. True friendship is quiet and enduring. It doesn't require constant displays of affection. Even if you and your friend live in the same city or work in the same office, you should still proactively maintain a sense of personal space. Without boundaries, even the closest relationship can become a burden. The closer you are to someone, the more important it is to maintain physical, verbal, and even financial boundaries. When people are too close, each other's flaws are often magnified. Instead of growing closer, they begin to develop resentment and blame. It is always best to clearly define your personal space and avoid interfering too much in the lives of others. No matter how familiar you are with a person, you should still be careful with your words. The closer you are, the more you should respect their private life. If they want to tell you something, they will. Otherwise, that is their line to draw. respect them, but do not overstep. Furthermore, financial boundaries are crucial. A famous writer once noted that friendship should be selfless. Friends are friends, and money is money. When these two are mixed without care, it creates an unsolvable mess. A true friendship is one where you're ready to help when needed, but you don't bother each other when there is no need. You live your own lives while maintaining a spiritual connection. You don't pester each other, but you always hold each other in your hearts. This kind of bond is gentle, without being fussy, and long-lasting without being boring. Another profound truth we find in the novel is that true friends do not drift apart because of their differences. After Monty became familiar with Riley, he quickly became friends with TJ the Toad as well. For a mole accustomed to a monotonous life, TJ's mansion was a world of wonder. He was particularly captivated by the exquisite carriage that allowed TJ to travel wherever he pleased. Eventually, TJ, Monty, and Riley decided to go on an adventure together to distant lands. With Monty's enthusiastic encouragement, even the rational Riley agreed to explore something new. However, for Riley the water rat, a nomadic life held no real appeal. He preferred the stability of the riverbank and hated the idea of living on the road. He initially refused to participate, but then, seeing the hopeful and sincere look in Monty's eyes, he changed his mind. He said to Monty, "I'll always be by your side, and this trip does sound interesting." Being a principled person, Riley chose to join them because he valued the joy of his friend over his own personal preference. The trip was filled with the excitement of TJ and Monty. They skipped along the streets, watching the sun rise and set with hearts full of joy. Only Riley, with his quiet and sensitive nature, sensed the underlying dangers and the exhaustion of the road. He eventually whispered a suggestion. "Maybe we should head back to the riverbank tomorrow morning." This thoughtful offer moved Monty to tears. Even though Riley didn't like the current lifestyle, he was willing to continue the journey because he understood TJ's impulsive nature and Monty's curiosity. He stayed partly to prevent TJ from causing trouble and partly to fulfill Monty's wish. The next morning, while TJ was still fast asleep, Riley woke up early to prepare for the next leg of their journey. In Riley, we see the beauty of volunteering to do something for a friend without harboring resentment or expecting a favor in return. There's a saying that in a lifetime, meeting a friend who is powerful or wealthy doesn't necessarily mean they are valuable. The rarest thing is to meet someone who truly understands you. A true friend is someone who is willing to let go of their own sharp edges to make room for you. They are tolerant of your differences in personality, your unique interests, and your lifestyle choices. That person won't demand that you change to fit their mold. Instead, they respect your choices and empathize with your struggles. They are there when you need them, offering advice without judgment, and they never try to correct you to satisfy their own ego. The ancients once warned that there are 4 kinds of hypocritical friends. The one who only knows how to take, the one who only knows how to talk, the one who only knows how to flatter, and the one who only knows how to seek entertainment. Without mindfulness, it's easy to mistake these for true friendship. The taker always wants to receive but is never willing to give. The talker constantly finds your flaws and criticizes you, leaving you drained of energy after every interaction. The flatterer praises you without standards, even when you're wrong, which hinders your true growth by keeping you trapped in illusions. The entertainment seeker only comes around when things are fun and easy, but disappears the moment you face a real storm. These types of friends all share one trait. They don't accept you for who you are. If you change or if you fail to satisfy them, they distance themselves. In contrast, Maturity is the ability to see differences and realize that those differences don't matter. A true friend doesn't demand absolute similarity. They have a heart big enough to embrace all of you. They are calm enough to listen and loving enough not to turn the relationship into a tool for their own validation. The story also reminds us that you cannot always adorn a friend when they are brilliant, but you can certainly warm them when they are not. Despite his friend's repeated warnings, TJ the toad eventually caused a massive problem. One morning, he secretly went to a small town alone. There, he was captivated by a beautiful car that belonged to someone else. In his impulsive excitement, he forgot all his values, jumped into the driver's seat, and drove away without permission. The situation escalated quickly. TJ was caught by the police after a reckless high-speed chase and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. The following days were spent in low, dark, and gloomy cells. It was an endless series of days without seeing the sun. Eventually, the jailer's daughter helped him. She took pity on his sincere repentance and lent him clothes, so he could disguise himself as a laborer and escape. But when he finally returned home, he discovered a new tragedy. His beloved castle had been occupied by a gang of wild weasels. While he was away, fortunately, Ben the Badger and Monty the Mole had not given up on him. They had persistently guarded the perimeter of the castle for a long time. Through the scorching sun and the pouring rain, they had slept on the grass, observing the occupiers and planning how to reclaim the home for their friend. Now that the owner had returned, the group of friends worked together, combining their strengths to defeat the enemy and reclaim the castle. After this event, TJ truly realized the gravity of his mistakes. Thanks to the compassion and unwavering support of his friends, he changed. He stopped wasting money, abandoned his reckless habits, and transformed into a kind, polite, and humble gentleman. This transformation was only possible because his friends didn't judge him when he was at his lowest point. In our real lives, how many people come to us when there's a profit to be made, only to leave the moment we face difficulty? A wise person once said that only in poverty do you know who your true friends are, and only in times of turmoil do you know who truly loves you. You only really know the depth of a person's heart when you fall. Those who remain loyal when you're down, who show you endless patience, and who do not avoid you because of your flaws, those are your true confidants. A true friend might not be the loudest person at your victory party, but they will be the first one to stand up and help when you're facing a crisis. Although The Wind in the Willows is often categorized as children's literature, the story is not childish at all. On the contrary, it is deeply relevant to the lives of adults. Each page reveals the elegance of Kenneth Grahame's language and the subtle philosophical layers hidden within. Perhaps you see yourself in the image of Monty the Mole, a soul weary from endless days of repetitive work. Then, one day, you decide to follow the call of your heart. You let go of old habits, step outside to embrace the sunlight, and meet new friends who change your perspective. You begin a journey of discovery that leads you to your true soulmate. The Wind Through the Willow Forest is an invitation. It is an invitation to return to your core. It connects humanity with nature, with other people, and ultimately with oneself. It raises the simple yet profound questions. How should we live? How should we make friends? And where is our true home? Our true home is a place where we can see the loving, tolerant, and empathetic side of ourselves. If you currently feel suffocated by your life, stuck in draining relationships, or unable to find a foothold for your soul, I encourage you to be brave. Step out of your comfort zone. Give yourself the chance to immerse yourself in nature and experience a new space. Remember that true friendship doesn't come from being identical to someone else. The important thing is to maintain a reasonable distance, to accept differences without trying to prove yourself right, and to stop needing others to fulfill your every need. There's a powerful rule of thumb. What you wouldn't want others to do to you, don't do to anyone else. Be ready to help your friends with all your sincerity and enthusiasm, in a way that is unconditional and selfless. When you live in tune with your own high frequency, you will naturally meet the people who are in tune with you. Now, can you hear it? Can you hear the rustling of the wind through the willow branches? It is a reminder that peace and connection are always available to those who stop and listen. Thank you so deeply for listening to today's video, and for joining us on this exploration of the wind in the willows. If you found this discussion helpful and it provided you with a sense of peace or a new perspective on your friendships, please take a moment to share this video with others. Maybe you have a friend who needs to hear this today. If you want to continue discovering the hidden wisdom within the world's most beautiful books, and join a community dedicated to becoming the better version of ourselves, please hit that like button. It truly helps our channel grow and reach more people. Most importantly, don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our weekly deep dives into classic and modern literature. We are here every week to help you find the sanctuary your soul needs. Thank you again for your time, your attention, and your support. I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Until then, stay adventurous, stay loyal, and keep growing. Goodbye for now.